What it is, y'all, it is your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming back today with more Danmachi, and today we're going to be talking about Familia Rush, which just basically went live in the game. So, you got 3 different foes. This is a Familia-wide raid boss event. You are working with your Familia to take down this enemy. I'm going to give you some hints, some tips, but first, let's talk about the 3 different foes that you are going to be fighting in the battle. Enemy number 1. Now remember, each time you beat the enemy, they kind of level up, they get a little bit harder, and basically move from level 1 onto enemy number 1 to enemy number 2 to enemy number 3. Then you go back to enemy number 1, and they just level up each time. So, let's get into this, okay? Enemy number 1, Reverse Arch Snake times 5, so you need an AoE team for this. Worm Killer is effective, so units with Worm Killer are going to be best here. Thunder and Dark physical attack is effective. So Thunder units or Dark units, obviously with Worm Killer, that are physical are going to be preferred. Magic is definitely out, and you'll see why here in a moment. Enemy skills, allies increase magic. So in other words, especially when they get to the higher levels, like early levels is not going to be a big deal, but higher levels are going to start hitting you a little bit harder. So when they get that increased magic, see if you can remove it. I generally find that removing it's kind of I don't want to say a false step, but I generally haven't found it to be terribly useful for me at least, but that is a thing. Thunder and Dark physical attacks are effective, it says here. So physical is down 40%, magic is up 60%. So in other words, you would have to debuff magic a whole lot just to get it neutral. Not really worthwhile. It's better putting your debuffs into physical and debuffing that physical down even more. Now, fire, earth, wind, and light are all neutral. So you could use those if you so wanted, if you didn't have a dark team or a thunder team. But don't use water. Water is resisted 30%. Even though the water team is really good, I'm willing to bet you could get some pretty good numbers out of the water team. As it is, Thunder is down 30%, Dark is down 70%. See if you can use those elements, preferably. In fact, is there a Worm Killer on the water team? I honestly don't know. I'd have to go check. I don't recollect off the top of my head. But use Worm Killer if you can. I'm sure you've got a Worm Killer somewhere on Thunder or Dark, and you should be able to get out some pretty respectable numbers. Okay? It says down here, Thunder and Dark physical attacks are effective, as we said before. Dark units with Worm Killer, like the new Allen, and Thunder units, like Desert Bravery Otaro and Unbroken Chain Alfric, make good attackers. They're always going to try to push the new banners, guys, so just be aware of that. But there are other ways to go about this. Obviously, those teams are going to get the best numbers, but if you don't have those units or you don't want to go after those units, like personally I've said I don't necessarily want to, I'm going to try to find a workaround here to get some good numbers out. You can fight effectively with Otaro's additional attack that removes magic boost. So in other words, remember, his attack will remove the magic buff, and Alfric's essay that boosts strength of your allies. Probably would want to use Harahime for that, but I don't know what the best team build is yet. I haven't really looked at it. This has only been out for a very small amount of time. So, you know, that's enemy number 1. Now, once you beat that enemy, you want to work with your team. You want to work with your Familia. You want to make sure that your Familia knows which one you're taking on. If you do not have a team to take on this, you might want to look at enemy number 2 or 3. And then, you know, coordinate with your Familia if possible. Okay? From enemy number 2, once you beat enemy number 1, 2 is going to come into play. Riptide Worm times 3. Worm Killer is effective once again. Thunder Magic Attack is effective. Magic this time. Allies. Increase water attack damage. Enemies magic reduction. So they will debuff your magic a bit. Probably not 40%. Magic is probably still the preferred way to go. But you can also get rid of those debuffs. And that's kind of what it's designed to do. So, physical resist is neutral, as is fire, earth, wind, water, and light elements. Magic resist is down 40%. Dark resist is up 50 and thunder resist is down 40. So thunder magic would be preferred. Interestingly enough, I'm willing to bet water would be really good here as a secondary. Notice water is not resistant. Water is neutral. So water magic team probably could clean up here pretty well if you don't have thunder, which is probably what I'm going to wind up doing because I don't have thunder, to be totally honest with you. Thunder magic attack is effective. The enemy uses skills with a debuff. If you have a party of magic units, you can fight effectively using units that remove the debuffs and reduce debuff turns. White Demon's Hand Hedon skill is useful as an attack damage as the attack damage increases when magic is reduced. So in other words, Basically, they're going to debuff your magic, and Hedon gets harder and stronger every time his magic's debuffed. So you can utilize that. You can utilize that to the best of your ability and really, knock him for a loop. It's a rare situation which you'd be able to use that. Most of the time, it's going to be more useful in Wargame, but once again, literally, the whole purpose of having this Familia event basically is to sell the new units. Let's just be honest here. Let's lift the veil. That is what this is for. At the same rate, it is a fun event. I'm not trying to hamper it or poo-poo on it at all. I do enjoy these events, and personally, I always like to find a workaround so that people that don't have the new units or didn't want to pull on the new units can still produce for their team. So rest assured, guys, I'm going to try to come back with some videos on that each and every day because we're going to have this for quite a better part of a week. I think this goes away on Monday or Tuesday. So you've got a few days that you're really going to want to pay attention to this. Now, once they're defeated, enemy number 3 comes in. And this is the Basilisk. Same foe we fought. Hopefully you have a Taro for this one. Worm Killer is effective. Dark Physical Attack is effective. Enemies decrease Earth Resistance. And so they're going to decrease your Earth Resistance. So you take more hit damage from Earth attacks. Self remove status debuffs. So at some point during the fight, usually turn 4-ish, he's going to remove debuffs on himself. Physical resistance naturally down 30%. Magic resist is neutral, as is fire, earth, wind, water, and light. Just general light element. Thank you, brain. Thunder is resisted 30%, and dark is down 40%. Once again, water is neutral, so I'm willing to bet you could probably get good numbers from a nice water team. Even though magic isn't resisted, I'm willing to bet you could probably get some nice stuff out of it, because that team is hardy. Though, to be fair, nothing's going to compare to the dark team if you do have the dark team to basically take this on. Dark single attack is effective. Black Demon's Blade Hegni will be your ideal attacker, who has dark single target as well as Worm Killer. The enemy will remove status debuffs as they're inflicted at one point. Like I said, probably turn 4-ish. I don't know for sure, though. Since the player's status buff will not be removed, pay attention to the enemy's status and have enough debuffs for the later part of the battle. Pretty straightforward stuff. You just kind of want to take on the enemy with the most intelligent team you possibly can. And of course, once 3 is defeated, it's going to go back to enemy number 1, and enemy number 1 is going to level up. Now, here's the deal, guys. Let me just go back over to the game here. So this is the screen you're going to see basically when you come in here and go to the fight. Do not forget about bonus time. Bonus times are set by your Familia leader, and when bonus time takes effect, it takes fewer fights in the game to get your other 2 battles. Remember, you've got 2 battles natively, and you get 2 more battles by fighting different fights in the game, basically doing your dailies. You will get basically these other 2 fights restored faster if you do it during bonus time. I know when my Familia's bonus, actually it's kind of posted right there, but I know my Familia's bonus time is familiarize yourself with when your Familia's bonus time exists too, because that's going to help you out. Just maximize your efforts in this. It does not boost your score. It only boosts how fast you get the other 2 fights. That is it. Okay? Now, the other thing you want to pay attention to, when you're team building, make sure you click this little battle button here and switch over to mock. You got to see the same mock battle, because this then means that your team is not setting a score. You are literally just going in here to test a team and see how a team functions. That is it. That is going to be super duper duper critical. If you are doing this correctly, you should do a couple of mock battles and actually build a team through, damage testing and whatnot before you actually go in there and set scores. So do not forget to do mock battles and test your teams before you just go in there, hammer down on the opponent 2 times and then go, I didn't do anything. Mock battle is your friend, guys. And do yourself and your Familia a favor. Make sure you're using all the tools at your disposal. But for now, that's pretty much going to be the video. I'm going to try to build some other teams. Hopefully have some success with that. We'll see how that goes. Like, comment, share, and I'll be back. Either way, I'll be back with more Danmachi for you guys really soon.